Hi everyone, happy Saturday. I haven't done a completed pages in a while, so this is kind of a combination of pages that I've done since February. So 3 months, though I would say the majority of them happened in March and April. April probably being the month that I got the most non-color by number pages. So I have some non-colored by number pages. I have colored by numbers, mostly in the art therapy Hachette Heroes series of books. And then I do have some whips. So let's go ahead and talk about the whips first. I am recording this a bit early because I am helping with the yard sale this weekend. So just did not have enough time to finish any of these today. And so we will continue on in May. I had been basically trying out the Woomer 133 colored pencil set. I hadn't really made any big purchases since the start of the year. Uh, I have pencils coming out of my ears. Uh, so I didn't really need another set of pencils. However, I was swayed and I did purchase those. And I was recording a video where I was testing them out, and I had done one page with them, and then I was going to start another page. And my desktop computer is in the shop right now, so half my footage is missing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to color another portion or just wait till I gets back. So we're just leaving these as whips. One is in Nightfall by Maria Trolle, and it is this page with the cute little fox with the sandal. So this page is going to be, I mean, there might be some gel pens in here, but the majority of it is just going to be colored pencils. A rarity for me because I generally like to base with other products to create a base color because it's easier on me hand-wise, tendonitis-wise, if I have to use colored pencils as little as possible, and they have to be softer colored pencils. So I did do these flowers, and I've still got the combinations pulled. So when I do that video, I will share it. Again, I might just go in and color other flowers and like go ahead and do the footage this next month. But it's turning out really nice. I have some initial observations about the Woomer pencils. Another thing with me and pencils is really dependent on my mood and how I'm feeling that day is how much pressure I put on my pencils. If I am relaxed and chill, I can just lightly layer and at least not put a ton of pressure on with my pencils. If I'm really tense and even subconsciously tense, I put a lot of heavy pressure on my pencils, which of course affects how long I can use them before I start having pain. But these did turn out beautiful, so I'm excited to finish this picture. I know, a rare colored pencil picture for me. Halloween all year long, this has been a project book to complete. The goal was the end of 2026. Oh, to be the person I was like a year and a couple months ago, due to unexpected life occurrences, I've had to skip some months with pictures from this book. So still planning to complete it, but we're just going to be more flexible. Maybe once I get back into a few more months of regularly posting a couple pages a month to complete, um, I'll feel more confident giving an estimated completion date. But I had posted pictures for March, and then all that happened with my mom. I didn't post any for April. I might do just one page for May, and I'll show that at the end. But I do have whips in here, or a whip. So the page I've really been looking forward to in this entire book is this um, page. This is like one of my favorite pages in the book, and it's one that I picked for March. It is based in the Gansai Tambi Kuretake graphite colors. I wanted something that was a little more moody, I guess, instead of Eastery, bright and colorful. So it's based in the graphite pencils, and my plan is to shade in, have gel pens, paint markers, like a lot of extras, but to try to shade most of this using the Woomer colored pencils as long as I can find colors that associate with this. I wanted to try them on, smooth, higher quality paper, and I also wanted to try them on Amazon paper. But I Amazon paper and colored with colored pencils from scratch. I don't care how soft the pencil is like a nightmare sensory and experience for me. I just do not enjoy it for the most part. So we're always going to base an Amazon page. But it's two different ways you can see me use the pencils. So the other page for March I did not complete. And I offer these pictures start every month. If you want to complete this with me, great. If not, and you just want to do one particular page out of the book, that's fine. Is this one. I have an idea based on something I saw from Elm Colors. I don't know if I will execute it quite as nicely on this Amazon paper, but we're going to try. This book is all about experimenting with Amazon paper. So, like I said, I may post a picture for May, and then I'll post it to Instagram as well. So there's that whip. My other whip, I really have been neglecting my Morgan O'Brien books, and these are not a heavy lift for me. I generally do like a marker base and then pastel pencils for shading. And so I picked up one and I went to base it in markers. And you're going to laugh when you see this because this is just markers. This is the springtime coloring book. And look at that pink. I was just eyeballing the markers. I wasn't swatching like I should have been. I wanted a more delicate pink, and instead I got extreme sunburn. So I am going to try to come up with maybe a gray or a light purple or something to neutralize this and tone it down a little bit. And once I do that, I'm going to add when I say pastel pencils, I'm talking about like pastels, like soft pastels in the form of colored pencils, by the way. They're great for shading and a whole lot easier to do quick shading than a colored pencil for me. Plus I can use Q-tips to blend them, but they're usually very limited in their color palette, so it's harder to do them on more complex pictures or tinier details. So yeah, once I get his poor little sunburned self neutralized, or if you think he should stay sunburned, let me know. He is kind of rocking it. I'm not gonna lie. He just fell asleep in the sun. It's spring. He didn't realize what he was doing. But I was hoping to get that one done, and I may get it done today. I don't know. I'm trying not to overschedule myself today. All right. Now to the completed pages. First, I'm going to show the non-color by numbers. Everybody kind of has preferences, and so I try to do these in somewhat of an organized order. What in the world got in the front of that book? Oh no, the book ripped. No, that is a sticky sticker. Okay. Animal Mandalas by Alexandra Franzese. We did this cute page with the platypus. I found this color palette somewhere. I don't remember now. Um, but I ended up doing kind of here, let me zoom in a little. It's all marker and then what are they called? Super markers. I love this super marker kind of lime green color. It's like a metallic shine. Um, I've got that. I did the plaid pattern with markers and a white gel pen. Um, did a little bit of marker shading on the platypus and some different areas, but like I didn't really bother with it much on some of the bigger areas. And then I added glossy accents as well to the, and some of the gold metallic to the, what are they called? Magnifying glasses. You can see there. And I also added it to his little monocle. So I thought it turned out really cute. And I really liked the color palette. It was something different. Running out of places to put things. Color Me Capybaras. This is just a fun book. This is one of those, I go in and I say, look, if I just want a straight, not straight color, but flat color, I think I like flat color better. Flat color these pages and don't want to add any shading or colored pencils or anything, and I just want to use markers or crayons or whatever, I can. This is absolutely my favorite Cider Mill Press book from the Color Me series. It has just enough detail without being kind of overly so, and the capybaras are super cute. No reap sheep. Nope. You wait. Anyway, I decided I skipped over. I was going to do front to back, but I had a couple winter and autumn pictures, so I kind of skipped over those because I wanted this. This definitely screamed spring to me. And I say that, but once I get to these, and it's a little hard to see here, I will add some real subtle, like edging, shading with like a slightly darker marker. You can kind of see it on the path here. Um, you can see it on his shirt and stuff. I did that plaid I was really into plaid here. That plaid pattern on him. Blended a little bit with the bird. And then I don't think I did any. No, I did the metallic dual metallic pink on the bike because I just thought a shiny pink bike was absolutely what they needed. Had a lot of fun with this. Love the colors. Like I said, this is just a really fun book. I I find I come back to this oftentimes when I want something a little more, not something super simple like a color by number, but not something like crazy blending, a lot of technique type stuff. So Children of the Woods, I because I was apparently going through Deborah Muller withdrawal since I hadn't been coloring in my Halloween all year book. And that's one of the downsides of having a project book is I love Deborah Muller's work and I have so many of her books. And it's just right now I don't have the time to do a lot of coloring. I did a color in chat Wednesday night. I posted it's the video before this one, and in it I talk a lot about just there's been a lot happening the past 2 months. I haven't had a lot of downtime at home to color, where I just wasn't overstimulated and needed to just reset and not do anything. But uh, in not doing as much in Halloween all year, I started poking through some of her older books. Um, this is a plug I'm going to go ahead and do, and I should have done at the start of the video. Um, if you're watching, please be sure if you're buying your books off Amazon, please be sure to support your artist by leaving reviews. You don't have to necessarily leave like a completed picture, but I like to just to give people an idea of the art without showing them blank pages. You could also technically put something on a blank page like this and take a screenshot or two if you don't want to show like your completed picture, but I try to do that and then write a review. It's really important. There's such an influx of books, particularly AI books, in the coloring book market, and it's pretty saturated. And I think Amazon, instead of flagging books as AI like they should be, they're instead going after independent publishers and are like, if you have older books that don't have enough reviews or whatever, we're not going to promote them in the algorithm. I don't know if they're going to remove them entirely. I can't remember exactly what she said, but she put out a request for, Deborah Muller put out a request for people who had some of her older books to go leave reviews, so they can stay up and show up in the algorithm. But I would say for any book that you enjoy, any artist you enjoy, if you can't buy if you can't buy a lot of their books, the best way to support them is that way, because the more reviews they have, the more it'll show up in the algorithm, the more likely it'll beat out like a lot of the AI books and stuff that they're trying to fight against. If you like AI books, sorry, I don't like them, but if you like them, fine, no judgment. I'm just saying, if you prefer independent artists, then do that. I guess if you like the AI books, go leave a review there. But it's something I need to do a better job of, and so every time I remind y'all, I'm thus reminding myself. So, Children of the Woods was an older book I had of hers, and I realized I hadn't colored it all in it. And this turned from kind of a I don't know what I'm doing page to actually something that looked a little different than what I normally do, and turned out really cute. It's just markers. I don't want to fool around with anything else. I was trying to come up with not necessarily a blended background, but kind of a blocky background with um, the color, like a similar color range, just to create some, I don't know, just to create some variety in the image. And I got my purples mixed up. This dark purple should have been here. This should have been here, but whatever. It still worked. And then I colored the rest of it and just kind of went with what I liked and what I felt looked good. And I thought this turned out really cute. It, like I said, it turned out to be a very fun picture when I didn't really know where I was going to start with other than the background. So I do need to go leave the review for that one. And Easy Fantasy. This was in the making for months. I think I showed y'all, no, I had it recorded, but I wanted to do a page in here entirely in watercolor. I used satin glazing liquid, and on Amazon paper, watercolor dries very quickly and it makes it hard to blend or layer. And it can also tear up the paper if you don't let it fully dry. It does help to treat the paper. You can use things like gesso, clear gesso. Satin glazing liquid's my favorite because it leaves the least amount of texture on the paper. Any type of treatment like that to make it look more like watercolor paper is going to roughen up the page. Um, so I tried satin glazing liquid. I also tried to sand it down just a little bit with one of these little fine sanding blocks just to see, because I don't like using colored pencil over satin glazing liquid. So if I'm going to do it, it's just going to be on areas I'm using watercolor. And so I gessoed satin glazing liquid the whole page out of this Easy Fantasy by Joshua Dunbar. And I sat here for months on this picture. And I am so proud of it. You have no idea how proud I am of this picture because it's entirely in watercolors. I built up layers and let it dry. Is it perfect watercolor technique? No, but I love the fact that instead of just using watercolor as a base, I used it as the actual primary part of this picture. And it's very, watercolor is one of those things I want to get into even separately away from coloring. I just, with what time, but I'm trying. Anyway, super proud of this. I used the May Lang. You can use any watercolors. I guess I don't have to specify what I was using. You obviously can use any watercolors, but let me tell you, and I don't know where the actual, there it went. I have a lot of watercolor sets, and one of my favorites to use that I feel like is a budget-friendly one is the same one that Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, recommends, and that's the Mei Liang watercolors. They make a small, I think 28 color set that is a great workhorse set. Honestly, if you're looking to start using watercolor in your coloring books, I highly recommend starting out with that one. Um, but I got the expanded set with more colors just because I don't want to, I'm lazy and I don't want to mix. And so I wanted a bigger color variety. So this is what the 48 set looks like. You do get a gold and silver with it. And so I use this, and I also use the granulating watercolors from Genzai Tambi. I think I used, was it this color? I think I used this color here, and then I used the second set. I used the kind of blue purple for the water. I want to use those more as well. So really specifically, you know, obviously you can use any watercolor. The one thing I will say that was kind of unique to this is the granulating watercolors I used to give this castle kind of a distressed look. I wanted a pink castle. I was very much just thinking fantasy. It doesn't have to be a gray castle. And so I wanted a pink castle, but it didn't have to be bright pink. And so I really love how that turned out. I did use some sparkly gold and silver, not the version from Mei Liang or some of my higher level, uh, Dreamland watercolors. They're like, I guess, not budget friendly to give the gold and silver. And went back over it with a acrylic paint pen just because those do soak up some of the line art and cover it up. So anyway, this is probably the picture I'm most proud of this month, just because it's been sitting here prepped for months, and I'm so glad one day I went outside and I got my watercolors. And once I get my watercolors, then I want to do all the pictures in watercolor, even just basing everything. And I didn't have time that day, but I will. I will. I'm going to do more of these because this was fun. It was different. And it's also very easy on the hands and the tendonitis because of the watercolor. The biggest thing is just making sure it dries between layers is like the biggest problem, which you could speed up with a heating element, heating like a hair dryer or something. But I just prefer to let it go ahead and air dry. Finally, Easter miniatures, which is the picture I colored in Wednesday night's video. I did marker blending in this and then added some different things to style it up. It's 50 Easter Miniatures by Camellia Angelkova. I finally did get my Easter picture almost a month late. I started to use more of a muted Easter set, but then when I got to the acorns, I realized they should be painted like eggs and be in bright colors. So they're pastel. It's not super bright, but really pleased with how this turned out. I went over the line art and the daffodils and the grass with the dual metallic Pentel pens, which I think gives it just a little extra look. Blended the flowers, the squirrel, the acorns, and the leaves. Oh, and here, and then I just did a light blue background. I wanted these to be a painted look, so I used acrylic paint pens, which I don't normally do in coloring books that are not color by number, but I need to start because this was pretty fun. I covered up the line art, and I found I didn't really like the look of it. I like it when other people do it, but I don't like it when I do it. So I took some of the like glitter gel pens. I think I used the Jelly Roll and went ahead and created lines in the different colors, which is more subtle than the black line art. I'm okay actually with that look. So if I do this, this is probably something I'll do in the future. It's a more subtle look than the black line art, but I do love that line art. So love it. Paint marker, gel pen, and just blending with markers. And I show at the beginning how I do that. I think everybody shows that. That's like one of the big trendy things now in the coloring community on social media. So I wasn't showing anything new or revolutionary. Probably wasn't even as precise or layering and layering like some of the other people do. But it's what I like to do. So I figured I'd share it. And it's just a catch up. Then a catch up on my life the last few months. All right, my Hachette Heroes color by numbers first. I did quite a few of these. I'm really enjoying these with my acrylic paint markers. I like the King Arts. They actually put out a whole like 2 or 3 new sets of colors, and you can buy these open stock when they're in stock. And they've started in the latest ones putting the actual names and numbers on the paint markers. These are, I really like these. I'm finding a lot of close colors matching with these. The biggest problem is usually my grays, because there's usually a lot of dark grays or light grays. And so I bought the Art assorted gray tones, and that gives me usually what I need left. And I've rarely had to use a water-based marker or a colored pencil to get all the colors. Treasures of Japan. I talked about this one in the What If My Coloring Books Have Personalities. This is kind of my honeymoon phase book where I love every picture in this book. They're just so fun. It's different. I love my Disney books, don't get me wrong, but this just has so many different styles of art and different things involving Japan that I just really enjoy them. I did this picture about a week or two after my mom passed away, and I say that just because she liked birds a lot. She liked, flowers and trees and stuff, and this seemed like a picture she would like. So I did this one. Had a lot of fun with that. Finally got into this, which is, I believe, witches. Again, I really like a lot of the images in this book. It's just different. And these are more simplistic pictures. I wouldn't say these are overly detailed. And of course, there's a tons of cats in here. I decided to go with something bright. There was just one day I was like, I want to use some bright colors. And so we did this handsome fellow. I just loved, he was purple. I'm all about coloring fantasy colors for animals and stuff. So I was like, purple cat, neon-y kind of background with some black to kind of balance it out. Like, how fun is that, right? So I thought he was a lot of fun. Cats and felines, or whatever this translates to. This is also art therapy. All of these books, by the way, are available in Lyrica. This is where I'm purchasing them. For me in the US, this is a cheaper option most of the time than Amazon. If you do, these are a little harder to find, especially if you're trying to translate to French. So if anybody ever wants a link to these, just let me know. I did, I think the first cat in here. Yes, no, yes. And he turned out really handsome. I love the bright green with his colors. That turned out very nice. Now, I do find with these markers that sometimes I have to go over 2 or 3 times to really get an opaque texture, which is fine. I don't think that's unusual to acrylic paint markers. There's Art, you may have, I think Art's the only ones I've found, that and the Molotov markers that put out enough where you don't necessarily have to go over another layer. So I don't necessarily mind that. And it adds to the therapeutic element, I guess. And then Disney. I just did, this is my snack one, I think, from the coloring tags, the Disney felines. I think this is the only one I've ordered off Amazon, and that was maybe. And that was because it was at a discount, I guess because it's in Spanish. But I'm working my way front to back in here. I started off using a lot of different types of mediums until I really settled on acrylic paint markers. And so we have this one that I did get a little bit of the lines here, but I'm not too pressed about it. As long as I like how it looks, it doesn't have to be smooth and perfect. I still haven't found a good, I do have a white Molotow marker. I still haven't found a good true white paint marker. It doesn't have like a yellowish tint to it. So I've been trying to just leave it as is. Here I tried with the King Art and I didn't particularly like the white, and I went over it like 2 or 3 times and you could still just barely see the lines. So then we have this student here. All right. Two. Okay. So we have 2 there. Final book. Color by Number by Sen Ong, Adorable Cats. I worked on a lot of these when my mom was sick. Worked on one a little bit when I was staying there. So this kind of has, I don't know, one of the books I have, it's sort of in connection with my mom because I showed her some of the pictures and she really liked them. I've done a number of these. I'm working back to front in this. And we are done quite a few in these. There we go. I think we start here. Now, I've heard some people tell me that this artist regularly posts on Instagram and is not AI. I've heard other people say it's AI. I've said I don't like AI, but I guess if this turns out to be AI, I guess I'm making an exception. I love this picture. It might be my favorite picture in the book so far. Just the blue and the orange is real pretty. And then this was the one I was working on at my parents', and then I finished the little guy the other night. I kind of took a break on these for a while. So, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 pages. Again, it was over 3 months, but probably more like a month and a half, 2 months. So 15 pages and 3 whips. Did I say? I think I said. No, 16. 16 and 3 whips. So there you go. Those are my completed pages. Give me just a sec. We'll talk very briefly about May. Alright, I changed my mind. I am going to do 2 pages in May. Even though I'm behind on the March pictures, we are going to do 2 pages in May because I couldn't decide between the 2 pages. And they should be fairly easy to find because they're right next to each other. Not that one. Where'd it go? Oh. So I have the garden start page. This is what I probably would have done in April. So I really want to do this one like a garden start or an herb garden start. And then we're going to do the graduation picture. So that's the one right in front of it where the ghosts are graduating from the School of Haunting. I feel like that is an appropriate picture for May, given its graduation season. So those are the 2 there. I will post those on Instagram as well, and Deborah Muller's book group. hopefully I will have all 4 pages done by the end of May. If needed, I can always do the 2 pictures for May and come back and finish these. Um, as far as plans, I am trying really hard not to. The moment I make plans, it all goes to pot. Like, things happen. Um, the only things I will say is I want to do more watercolor in May. You may see a lot more whips because I have a feeling I'm going to be watercolor basing a lot of things. Um, and then maybe coming in with, whoop, I was trying to pull it out, pull the picture out, or the book. Um, the things I'm currently feeling are Camilla de Erico, possibly the Catitude book, because, surprisingly, I've not done a page in that yet. Definitely an Alexandra Franzese. I am not sure yet. She has so many good ones to choose from. She does have some color by numbers I need to get back into. Have I done the tiny houses? I have. So might, in my color by number era, go with Alexandra Franzese, but I'm hoping to work in some of her other books as well. R.J. Hampson, I want to get back to the Dark and Moody book I picked, which I believe was Moonlight Mischief. I'd like to finish the next page in that book. He is also coming out with his fan favorites, and he also has a couple in his email newsletter that I would really like to do, but we may just have to save those for later. I don't know. I am doing the best I can right now. I have an idea for my next Grains of Gold picture. I'm just picking these out while we're talking. It's very casual like. Joshua Dunbar. I want to do something. Either Hello Country Spring, or we might go with Easy Spring. Or Gnomes. One of his kind of, I'm really, I have said fall is my favorite season, but here lately my mood has kind of been changing to spring. I mean, Halloween's still my favorite holiday to color, but I really think I am shifting to being a spring gal. So you expect a lot of spring pictures still in May, even though it'll probably be 115 here by the end of the year or the end of the month. Always wanting to work in It's a Cat's World. This would be a great next watercolor project for like a full watercolor page would be It's a Cat's World by Teresa Goodridge. I also want to do a page. Tammy and I have a couple outstanding buddy color books we've been kind of casual about. Thankfully, she's been willing to work with me. So maybe Leon's Journey and dragon themed miniatures. Definitely a Camellia Angelkova book, at least one. I think we're just going to stop there for the moment, because by the time you take into account all the Hachette heroes and stuff like that, and there's always going to be surprises, right? I can't just let y'all know what I'm going to color in and then actually color in just those things. That would be ludicrous. And that's no fun. Gotta keep you guessing, right? So I do have whips to finish. That would be nice. I need to talk to Tammy. We've done the first page and the nameplate page, so we may just go with the next one, or we may skip that one and do this one because this is kind of like a springy page. Leon's Journey, I would like to move on to just the next page, which is this one. I think that's a great one for spring. And I at least want to do a watercolor base. This was a watercolor base with pencils. At least a watercolor base, if not full watercolor on this page. We will have to see. It's a Cat's World. I am just going to This will be the same situation where I will, this paper does better with blending than Amazon paper, but I still will treat this with satin glazing liquid if it's going to be a full watercolor page. I'm going to leave y'all guessing on that one. Joshua Dunbar, again, going to leave you guessing. It is probably going to be either Easy Spring or Hello Country Spring, really depending on what time I have. I would like to do this with like some gel crayons. I think would be fun. Ooh, I've really been, I like birds anyway, but my mom, of course, loved birds. So any type of bird type pictures I am also really drawn to right now. The Grains of Gold, again, I'm trying to work. I realize this is a compilation book. I need to do this page. Maybe I do both. Maybe I'm just really aggressive this month. Oh yeah, I forgot about that page. Need to do that. But I'm thinking more of this page. I have an idea, I think, of what I want to do for the background, and then I can build from there. Usually if I can get one element on a page, I can build it out, but I just need inspiration for that one item. Moonlight Mischief, more than likely, working front to back on the second set of pages. It will be this one. More than likely some type of water-based, watercolor, pencil base maybe, and then pencil over the top. Catitude, or Camilla de Erico as a whole, expect some type of water-based watercolor background, hopefully like a blend base probably on the cat, and then like some pencil shading. These really lend themselves well to that kind of format. So, and then we're going to have color by numbers, the Hachette Heroes, Disney. Still working in my cat book. I have another cat color by number book by Sacha and Sacha Diva I want to start in. Plenty of color by number books. And yeah, you'll probably you might see Color Me Capybaras again if I have time. And that is a very, now watch. Hopefully the month doesn't go completely off the rails and I don't get any of this done. Maybe we don't say May. Maybe we just say the next couple months. We'll say May and June. Casually. And then I will revise it. If I do complete pages at the end of May, I will revise my June plans as needed. How about we do that? That is less pressure on my rebel self. So, okay. Hope you enjoyed, and looking forward to working in these books. I am definitely in a coloring groove at the moment, though that could change day to day. I may be back middle of next week. It'd be really nice if I could finish the Woomer video. I'll have the Woomer kind of review first thoughts. I want to do the unpopular opinions tag. I'll probably have a color in chat talking about a few more specific things, like some of the convention stories I have. We'll be going to the Renaissance Festival in May, so I want to talk about that. And some of the hiking and stuff we've been doing, share some pictures. And I've bought some new digital books and pages that I need to share. I think I've got maybe 1 or 2 new releases coming next month. But so far, I don't know, I will slowly collect those for flip throughs. I'm trying, Deborah Muller's got a new Dragons book out, and I'm trying to resist right now because I still have her Senior Sirens book I want to work in. That's another one you didn't see here. I was trying to think. I have the, Back to Basics series to work on. I can't remember what's next in that. It might be water-based markers. I can't quite remember. I mean, there's a lot of videos I could do. I'd like to do a live stream. I haven't done a live stream in forever. That would be really fun to do. We always have a good time with those. So that's kind of the plan over May. May, we'll say a video a week, hopefully, of something. And we'll just see how that goes. It could go completely wrong. It could match up pretty good. Who knows? How exciting that we don't know and we can just wait and see how it all plays out. But I've got to go give Winry her IV fluids for her kidney stuff, and it's a regular thing. It's nothing new. And need to figure out what I'm doing with my day. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.